While I was away this summer, I came across this advertisement in a train station and very quickly took this snap, which is a little bit hard to see because of reflections. However, you can see that in big letters it shows GameChat, and while the Switch 2 logo is at the top and you can see Mario Kart on the screen that's being played, that's not the big focus. Yes, it is self-evidently, for we Nintendo fans, an advertisement for Switch 2. But despite the fact that the console isn't even out of double-digit days on the market at the time of recording, that's not the focus of this promotion. Also note this image shared previously from a different account which originally generated excitement about Metroid Prime 4 being allegedly out now, but I now want to draw your attention to the right-hand side. Neither of these advertisements feature Switch 2 very prominently at all in the marketing. The biggest word on the vertical advertisement isn't Switch 2, but rather it's GameChat. The ad even says, with GameChat and the Nintendo Switch 2 camera. Forget about selling you on the Switch 2, forget even about putting Mario Kart front and center. They are assuming in this that you're already on board with those purchases. What I find interesting about this is that Nintendo has clearly made a tactical decision to pivot from focusing on selling hardware and games to selling the experience of Game Chat. Now, Game Chat is pretty well named because it's the sort of thing that is naturally going to be appealing to a lot of people who don't necessarily play many video games. The low attach rate of the Nintendo Switch 2 camera drew some tart remarks on the internet recently, but it's probably not a surprise that the early adopters of this console are going to have already worked out their game chatting arrangement and may not urgently need a USB camera. I think the fact that they are selling their camera and the game chat system discreetly shows that they consider there is an untapped market of people who want what they're selling here, and what they're selling here is game chat. Now look, just because Nintendo choose to center an ad campaign around something doesn't mean that their judgments are correct. In the past, they've had several ill-advised advertisements, including whatever they were doing on Earthbound in the 1990s. But whereas in the past they have evidently given a lot of leeway to regional advertisers to catch the attention of the relevant markets, modern Nintendo advertising in this particular advertisement seems to be far more of a piece with Nintendo's global strategy. Therefore, I think this gives us an insight into their strategy, and I find it quite compelling that they are going all out on a casual focused feature like Game Chat only 2 months in. Does this mean that they think they can recapture the Midas touch of the Wii era, where they found something that cut through with the casual crowd? Well, maybe. Kit and Krista, who have done the hard yards in Nintendo's marketing department in their day, often talk about warm-up marketing and the amount of time it takes for new concepts to drip, drip, drip into the consciousness of average consumers. The thing is, Game Chat is a brilliant name because it does exactly what it says on the tin, and by drip, drip, dripping the association between Nintendo and chatting over video games, I think there is a serious chance that this does start to register over the medium term. The thing is, nobody else is really in this space at present, or not quite anyway. Sure, there's phones and tablets which offer Minecraft and Roblox and Fortnite and much more besides, but firstly, these are often more expensive devices, and secondly, they're not primarily gaming based, but thirdly, they don't have Nintendo's cross-generational appeal. You might also think, why are they doing this now? Why not wait until 2026 or 2027 when the early adopter and core game crowd have had their fill? Well, I think they probably see a value in people who are more casual buying the machine as a hub system for a growing family unit. If you have a child about to head off to university, a sister who plays Animal Crossing, and an uncle who plays Civ 7, the logic of Game Chat makes a lot of sense. You take discrete alone time and turn it into social, engaged, connected time, with almost none of the friction that you would otherwise have with setting up chats alongside games or indeed through multiple other chat apps. I also think this is elegantly solving the problem of the "you have one just like it at home" problem. To a casual observer, while newer games consoles are graphically shinier and can play different titles, there seems to be very little urgency to upgrade if you own a previous console, unless the new one does something substantially different. The PlayStation 4 has thrived long into the PlayStation 5 era, and this is a particular problem facing Switch 2. But the potential here is that Switch 2 isn't a replacement console, but ultimately an addition. The old family Switch, well, that goes to one of the family members and is not just able to stream Switch 2 games on the home's Wi-Fi, but is also now to be used as a communication device. It could be argued, ahead of the curve in terms of the current international approach to internet communication. Currently, countries around the world are imposing curbs on some internet freedoms in the name of safety, with the UK's Online Safety Act obliging websites to mandate age verification for some content, Australia's Online Safety Amendment banning access to social media platforms for under 16s, and similar regulations proposed or passed in Norway, France, Malaysia, Greece, and other locations. Nintendo's reputation for safety and being family friendly gives them a great opportunity to insert themselves into a tech landscape which is looking for solutions for safe internet talk while playing games. In addition, this still fulfills the objective of folding people back into their core software offering, partly because people will play games as they chat, but also because a subscription to the online service is required to use the GameChat functionality. Particularly in a time of economic uncertainty, the regular income and ongoing engagement provided by the online subscriptions are likely to be far more valuable to Nintendo over the long run than any one-off purchase here or there could be, especially if this provides an entry point into other benefits of the service, such as Nintendo Classics and Nintendo Music. Now, I realise that a great many people are disinterested in or even downright hostile towards game chat, and for sure, not everybody will be into this. The Switch 2 camera's attach rate, as I say, was less than 10% initially, although of course there are other cameras, including the Hori one, and most USB cameras could be used for game chat. I actually think it's to Nintendo's credit that they opened it up in this way, and it shows that they really want game chat to work rather than specifically wanting to sell their particular product. But the key thing isn't just your judgment or mine on the value of game chat, but that Nintendo are doubling down, and they actually seem to be making game chat a bigger sales focus than the Switch 2 itself out of the gate. That means they see potential in it as the potential driver for commercial success in this generation. And going forward, it's why I have a hunch that a decade from now, game chat could well be seen as being far more consequential than people would currently suspect. If you enjoy the content, do consider sharing it over GameChat or any other medium of your choice, and there's a lot of cool stuff on the Patreon, including on the free tier. Either way, I appreciate you being here, thanks so much for watching, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time for another Nintendo Forecast.